That's cute. Hey.
Hello.
Hey, thanks again for doing this. I really appreciate it.
For sure, this is really cool.
Oh, oh, thank you. I have so many questions for you. I definitely wanted to talk to you about Anime Truth or Dare for sure.
Oh,
Oh yeah, for sure. Because I feel like there's a lot of division at times in the anime community, and there's a lot of negativity at times, but that's probably the only time that there was a moment that every anime TikToker was together. You brought the anime community together
uh-huh.
single-handedly. So I wanted to thank you for it. I wanted to know, like, how did you even come up with it?
Oh, well, I guess trying to remember what was going through my head at that time. I know it was when the algorithm started getting really funky. Like, I think that was around when it like first really started like hitting a lot of people at once. And I guess I
Yeah,
saw a lot of like creators I liked that were like kind of feeling down. So I thought it'd just kind of be fun for everybody to just kind of play a game. Made me think of like summer camp vibes, you know?
that's a good one. Summer camp vibes. That is how it felt.
I really like this.
What tea is it?
Green tea kombucha.
Nice. Okay. Good
I love
choice. I definitely wanted to also ask you, you're obviously an avid anime fan. What is your favorite anime of all time? If you have
Oh, I
one.
hate this question so
I
much.
know. If you could even pick like one of your top 10 or top 20, what would it be?
Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Nice.
Mhm.
Very nice. How come? Why did you choose Full Metal?
So for me, a lot of those types of like I don't know, I feel like that one's like one of those like how do I put it? Like it's like a pillar type shonen. You know what I mean? Where it's like it's one of those ones where it's like, oh, they're so good. And a lot of people watched them when they were younger. It had like a lot of that like nostalgic value. I like watching those like when everybody was like finished with it. I watched it when I was like a full on adult because I was like, oh, like I heard the title and like it never sold me. The only thing I ever heard was like one of my roommates in college telling me about Hughes, and it made me not want to watch. Then I finally caved, and I'm like, I loved everything about it, and it was one of those ones where I actually was satisfied with the ending. That was what like cemented it to be a favorite for me, because I hate being like dissatisfied with how they want to like conclude the whole series. Like, it was very good.
Definitely. Does it have your favorite anime character, or is your favorite anime character in an entirely different anime?
I don't have like a one favorite. Plus, I feel like I have like all right, I'm exposing myself. My favorites usually end up being my crushes, honestly. Like it it it, it hits different, you know?
I I hear you understand.
Like mine's Roy, like,
Okay.
you
Hey.
know? He hit different for me. Like after that fight with Lust, I'm like, ooh, he's powerful.
who is the first anime character you simped for?
Oh god. I realized it as an adult that I was simping for this character I didn't even know. And it was Howl from Howl's Moving Castle, actually. Like if you
Really?
want to count Studio Ghibli, yeah.
It's a good choice. I respect that choice.
He was so
Absolutely.
charming. And he loved her for who she was, despite her being like old, like he still thought she was beautiful. And I loved that.
Is that your favorite genre, romance, or do you have another favorite genre?
I like a combination. I don't like an oversaturated romance because I feel like it makes the story kind of hollow if they focus too much on the romance. Like I had a phase in my life where all I watched was shoujo. I like watched every shoujo I could get my hands on, and I just was constantly disappointed by the whole oh they're gonna they this thing that they do until the last episode. You know what I mean by this? I
Yes.
hate that so much. But like I do like romance. Like I like putting romance in things that aren't romances because it's like it already has like its own story, so it doesn't rely on the romance. The romance just enhances the story. Like that's better than it just being like a straight romance sometimes.
No, I completely agree. And that was the greatest reasoning I've ever heard for why people should ship characters together. That
Just
was like,
justify.
that was perfect. Like, there's an academic reason for why this needs to happen.
Oh God. I'm afraid of someone
Well,
taking the contest.
when did you start watching anime?
I was one of those people that kind of started by accident, like as a kid. Like, when you'd stay up past your bedtime, you're like, ooh, what's this on Toonami? And I got scared and ran away from it.
Aww.
Samurai Jack, I think, was one of those first ones where I'm like, what is this? Like, it's like the Powerpuff Girls is over. What's that? Like, it freaked me out. It took me a lot longer to actually start watching anime than I feel like it should have.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think it took you so long to start watching it?
Gender roles. That's the best way I can put it. Like, people weren't nice to me as a kid when I liked quote unquote boy things. And it was just so obnoxious. Like, I was like one of those like kids that didn't have a lot of friends when they were like really younger. I know now it was because I just like to talk a lot and I was extremely like socially awkward. But like back then, people would say things to me about the things I liked, and it wasn't necessarily about that thing. It was just because I made them uncomfortable being really like, hello, do you want to be my friend? Like, I realize that now it was my behavior that made people feel that way about me, but I tried to attribute it to other things, like the stuff I liked. And it was pretty unfortunate because it made me feel like if I wanted friends, I had to push that stuff away. And that was a big mistake.
Oh. When it comes to speaking of like when it comes to being a woman that's a weeb, what are some of the biggest issues you face because of that?
Gatekeeping for sure. That was a fun thing for me in high school, though. Because for me, I was like, in high school, I was like the queen of Attack on Titan. I don't know why. I guess like there was very, very, very few people who were reading the manga when I was in high school. And like this was like 2012, 2013. And it was a thing where like I would be a group of guys in my classroom and I'd be like, oh, you guys are talking about Attack on Titan. And then I would say something. I would say, oh, so you guys know who the Armored Titan is, right? Like that was how I would get around the gatekeeping for it. And they would just stare at me blankly, like, what do you mean? Because like it was a thing I would dangle over their heads. Like I would say, like, do you want me to tell you, who Ymir really is? And they're like, what are you talking about? And they would get mad because I would threaten them to spoil things for them. And like that would be how I would get my in so they would leave me alone. Manga
I
information.
love Yes. Is Attack on Titan your favorite manga, or do you have a different? Do you have a favorite manga?
I don't think I have a favorite manga, but that was like the first manga. Like it has like a piece of my heart because it was the first manga I really got like invested into. Because like everybody told me, "Oh my goodness, watch Attack on Titan. You should watch it." I'm like, "Okay, okay." I did, and I was like, it's like I that was one of the first anime that I like was really into that I was like, how long are we gonna wait for a season two? Like I was already waiting on Ouran High School Host Club by then. So I'm like, okay, well this isn't like one of those shoujos. Because shoujos I think are notorious for having one season or just never finishing, or you have to go to the manga and there's just nothing more. But shonen, they always have like, bigger series. Like shonen are more known for having like those long, multiple seasons. Like I don't know why that's a thing. Shonens tend to be longer than shoujos. Like, have you noticed that, or is it just me?
No, that's actually I really didn't notice that.
And it would drive me crazy. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna start reading the manga, and that gave me too much power. But it also made me have to keep my mouth shut too, which was a big challenge. So I had screenshots in my phone of like scenes that I was just waiting for people to see, and I'm just like, any day now, they're gonna announce it. I know it. Turns out we didn't
What
get season two until I was in college.
what anime let you down the most when it was adapted from a manga?
I think it was Say I Love You. It was a shoujo.
How come?
Because like I love doing it in reverse. Like I do not like reading manga first because I already know it's gonna disappoint me. I know it's just like when they say like, oh, the book was better than the movie. It's usually the same thing with the manga because they're gonna leave stuff out. They left a lot of stuff out of Attack on Titan. I was honestly pretty pissed off when I found out how they messed up the end of season one, but that's like a whole different little thing. But to say I love you was like they changed so much about the main character. Like it was this cute little love story where it was like, it was a cliche. It was like the really popular guy and the independent, like not so pretty girl. And she was like an outsider and stuff like that. It was like one of those like little romances. Like they made her so ugly in the anime. She was not that ugly. In the manga, she's so pretty. And I'm just like, okay, so they made her ugly. And they made her mean in the anime. Like they made her like she might as well have like just slapped him in the face at this point. And like she wasn't that mean in the manga. Like she gave him a chance so much earlier. And I'm just like, why did they change? Like they changed how she looked and how she acted. Also, there was a lot more romance in the manga. Like they were like all this stuff happening and like they were going to college and like they were like trying to figure out what they wanted to do with their futures. Like they had like so much character development in the manga because of course it went past one season, but like that season that they gave us, they put such a short chunk of time for like the amount that was in the manga. It's like this is it, and they never gave it a season two. So I'm just like, okay, all right. And I'm like, maybe they didn't get a season two because they made the main character so unlikable in the anime. Like, I don't know.
And completely trashed it. Was that an anime that you were the most disappointed didn't get a second season, or is there something that tops that one?
I mean, I think I'm definitely on the train of people who are upset about Orange High School Host Club just because I think we all wanted to know if she was going to end up with Tamaki. It's like, it kind of felt obvious, but you're like, it had this kind of reverse harem energy where you're like, I feel like they would want to show us the potential of more people. Like, I think we didn't get enough of what Mori Senpai could offer. And I know they do tell more about that in the manga. I finally got my hands on the manga, so I'm going to be finally reading that because people have been saying spoilers on the internet, so I got impatient because at this point, I don't think there's any point in holding a candle for season two of Orange High School Host Club at all. Like, I don't. I really don't.
I am so
It's
sorry.
I'm still upset.
My deepest apologies. I haven't seen Orange High School Host Club, and I've heard so many good things about it. That and Fruits Baskets. Have you seen Fruits Baskets?
Yes, I've seen the original, but not the reboot. But I have such mixed emotions about the fact that it got a reboot at all, because Fruits Basket and Orange High School Host Club are around the same age for their original stories. They came out in that like early 2000s era. So I'm like, so you mean to tell me Fruits Basket after like 10 plus years gets not only a reboot for season one, but a season two? Like that baffled me because I'm like, so do we still hope or no? Like that's what made me confused because I gave up and then I saw that and I'm like, well maybe. Because the art styles are similar too. Like from the original art, it was like that era when everybody's eyes were like really round and like the noses were like, how like the art styles like change? That the little like round triangle, the really like pointed little chins. It's the same art style. So I'm like, it feels like it could happen, but I don't think so.
Do you like Fruits Baskets?
I do. I thought it was sweet, but I liked Oran better.
Definitely understand. What is your personal big three?
Oh God, I've never thought about that. Okay, I have two anime jumping in my head right now. So Full Metal, I already mentioned that. Hunter x Hunter, definitely Hunter x Hunter, but probably Kimi ni Todoke for my third. It has a soft spot.
Say that. Say the third one again.
Kimi ni Todoke.
Okay. I do not know that one. What is that one?
It's like my favorite shoujo. It is so precious. It had, what was it like? I think it had like 36 episodes. It was like a bit longer than most shoujo that I was seeing. And I'm like, oh, it had like a season one that was like 25 episodes, and then a season two that was only 12. But it was so good. It was like one of those ones. It was one of the first type of anime that made me like kind of cry because the character development was beautiful. Like they didn't like feed into the cliches like a lot of other like shoujo arc characters were, and like they had such backstories, and it was just so satisfying to see the love bloom. It made me so happy inside.
Just hearing you describe it is just making my heart happy. Like, I definitely need to try it. And you said something about anime tropes, which is such a big problem in anime. What is the most annoying anime trope to you?
I there's this one in romances specifically that I almost always hate this character, and that's like the bratty best friend character that assumes that she's going to end up with the guy at the end. She's like, okay, we were childhood best friends, so nobody has a right to touch this character. I like this. Like they might as well like put a stamp on them. It's like, see, we're childhood best friends, so you don't get to get close to them. We walk home together. We grew up together. You don't know them like I do, and you will never know them like I do. And they're so stuck up about it. And then as soon as there's another love interest, it's like, oh, wait, hold on. Who are you? They gatekeep the character. They gatekeep the protagonist every time, and I hate it. And they almost never get the character, too. And then they have to be in their feelings about it and learn to grow up. Like, that's, like, always a part of their character development, and it drives me crazy.
You hate gatekeeping also in anime.
Yes.
Completely get it. Completely get it. Is that your biggest? Now, the anime community has, there are a lot of great things about the anime community, and there are some negatives. Is that your biggest issue with the anime community, gatekeeping?
I would have to say so. It's frustrating. Like, I know even with like TikTok, like the community, I feel like has had its struggles lately with the whole, like, I think it started when like people started noticing the division between straight TikTok and alt TikTok. I think that was the first like two categories that everybody like really noticed, where we're like, hey, we have stuff that they don't. I think Lizzo was like a celebrity who really kind of put it out there. Because you know that one sound that goes, Dorime? Like she made a TikTok about it. People are like, Lizzo's on alt TikTok. What is this? So like then it became a thing because like, okay, a viral celebrity is talking about this alt TikTok. What's alt TikTok? And then people started like categorizing all these things like, what's this type of TikTok? And then when anime TikTok got its whole definition going on, people are like, okay, let's protect this category that we have. And I feel like a lot of people felt like it was their now responsibility to keep people out of anime TikTok to like protect who's on the inside. But I'm like, that's not how this is supposed to go. And I feel like it became more of a hostile situation instead of something that was supposed to be peaceful. And it was frustrating to watch.
Wow. I didn't know that about Lizzo. I didn't know she made a TikTok to the sound. And it's funny, all TikTok kind of came out of nowhere. It just kind of appeared, and I feel like I found out I'm on alt TikTok like not too long ago. Like it's just like we're all on alt TikTok. And I feel like what you said was very, very good in defining it and in defining that kind of how people put walls up around the anime community, especially when it comes to all of this gatekeeping. Why do you think people gatekeep in general?
I think it's a fear out of protecting something that they care about. They don't want somebody to come in and mess up something that means a lot to them. So they feel like gatekeeping is their way of protecting it. And it's like a not healthy way of doing it. But I think usually their heart's in the right place. It's because it's something that means a lot to them. So it's like, a dragon protecting its treasure kind of energy.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's why I'm empathetic to it. I don't condone it, but I understand where it comes from.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is the thing you like the most about the anime community?
I think it's almost ironic when I say like the fact that it's such an accepting community. Like it's true though. There's so many like weird things that you're able to just do as a part of the anime community to express yourself, and it's just such a fun place to just be creative and just make things. You can make art, you can dance, you can sing, you can dress up and be somebody else. Like it's just so much potential inside of the community. It just feels kind of freeing.
Yeah. How what got you started on TikTok in general?
Ah, that's actually an interesting little story. I Let me see. Trying to make sure I don't say anything that gets me in trouble. I was working, a normal job. I was trying to be like a responsible adult, and I was working in real estate. And
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
I know. To go from real estate to here is like really. But I wanted to work in content. I wanted to work in content since I was maybe in middle school when I first like started watching YouTube videos. I'm like, I want to do this, but I have no idea how. And I always either felt like, oh, it'll never work out, or I was too busy. So I got older and tried to be mature, and I'm like, okay, let me get a desk job and do that. And I hated it. And I told my boss, it was like a small company. I'm like, okay, I want to try to do creative things for the company. And he's like, okay, sure. And it was a really weird relationship where I felt like I was being held back in a way where it's like yeah, you can do these things, well, kind of. And it was like a trying to kind of keep me in my place kind of thing, and I just started feeling stifled to the point where I'm like, if I ever want to do what it is I want to do, I can't do it here.
Wow.
So this was February where I quit. I quit right before Corona, and yeah,
Nice.
and what do
Great.
I do now? But TikTok kind of happened accidentally. Like I was trying to be a writer at first, or I was like, let me like write a blog and like start making content. And I was writing about like skincare and stuff because I'm like, I that's something people care about, skincare. Meanwhile, the whole time I still was always into like the anime community. I just didn't know if I could do anything with it because I'm like, well, what am I gonna do when I'm like 40? Like, are people gonna still want to talk about like anime with me? Is that gonna be weird? So I just got nervous about like the long term of being like the granny anime person. So I'm like, let me try to do something more sustainable. Then I discovered TikTok at the end of February. I'm like, ooh, I've heard people talking about this app. And I did the Renegade. Pretty much that's what got me, like, it was the Renegade that got me into TikTok.
Really?
I have like this old TikTok of myself doing the Renegade, and this is before I knew how to do hit the wall. So I used to hit it like this. Like I would just go like it's like
My deepest condolences. I am sorry that is amazing.
but I just kind of fell in love with it on there. I'm like, it's really fun here. I can just make whatever I want. I'm making content. This is fun. And then, I was on straight TikTok first, like 100% straight TikTok. I saw kids from the Hype House in my For You page. I saw videos, like I actually saw Charlie's videos. I don't see any of them now. But yeah, my algorithm was so different, and I was like, doing all the like, yeah, okay, I can do this, like, all right. And I felt old because I was like, I'm 22, going on 23 in 4 days. But
Happy pre-birthday.
thank you. But I just felt like, oh wow, this is like teenager land. I'm too old to be doing this. I'm gonna keep doing it, but I'm kind of old here, aren't I? And I didn't like that at first. But people started like, kind of like vibing with my content, so I started getting weirder as I got more comfortable. And then I'm like, basically I kind of like did like one of these like, so y'all like anime? And now here we are.
Very nice.
Sorry about the long story.
No, no, that's amazing. Everyone has a different journey on not only going on TikTok, but especially anime TikTok. It's always interesting to hear that. And your story is incredible. You gave up your job in order to do this. That's your real calling. And I'm so happy you're here. I was seeing Phantom Blades comment that, hey, I am also happy you're really a part of the community. Um, I wanted to also ask you something that is a Titanic question, always argued about sub or dub.
Oh, all right, all right. So I will I vibe with sub, but I can appreciate a good dub. I do have my criticisms about dub specifically, but I also get the justification. Like, my preference would be sub, mostly because it sounds the most natural, and the only reason why it does sound the most natural is because the original script was written in Japanese. Everything else is translated, and there are just a lot of words that don't exist in English that you have to kind of create a whole script for to match the mouth movements. So it's like some words just aren't like some phrases just are going to look awkward and be awkward. There's nothing you can do about it. And that's what trips me up with dub sometimes. It's like sometimes like the writing, they struggle with trying to match it. And I'm like, it's understandable if you're trying to translate a language and then find synonyms to match like the amount of time you have to say this phrase. Because if you're trying to say
Yeah.
like, yoroshiku onegaishimasu versus nice to meet you. Like it's not going to match like the mouth. You have to say, "Hello, it is a pleasure to meet you." Like so you can actually fit like the rhythm of the speech. So I'm like, yeah, like they have no choice but to make it like that. And I'm like, oh, that's too bad for them. I do wish there was more variety in the voice acting community, though. I really do. That was my only other gripe. Like, I've thrown this name out there, and I do not mean this man any ill will, but I'm tired of Bryce Papenbrook. Like, is he a talented man? Yes. I just don't want him to be every protagonist. There was a point in 2014 where he was everyone. Like, he was like, like, you remember when Sword Art Online and Attack on Titan were like at their peak?
Yeah.
He is Kirito and Eren. So I'm just like, I'm hearing the same thing and I don't like it.
I didn't know that. I watched both of them and stuff. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. So I'm like, they're not the same person.
Do you have a favorite voice actor?
Caitlin Glass is really sweet. I actually like did get to see her at like I'm in South Florida, so like SuperCon's our spot where we get to see like the voice actors. Caitlin Glass is probably one of the sweetest ones I've ever seen, and I do like the way she has her voice set up for the character. She was Haruhi in Orange High School Host Club. That's one of my favorite roles that she's done, and I just feel like she has like a nice quality to her voice where like she's pleasant to hear.
No, wow. Okay. In the anime community itself, right? Anime TikTok community, do you have an inspiration? Is there another creator or creators that you see their content and they just give you inspiration, hope, fuel?
Like pretty much every cosplayer like inspires me to like try to be more like creative like with editing because I feel like my edits are like a little like sometimes they're clean, sometimes they're not. But like whenever I see them like work with like they're the reason why I have screen lights up in my room right now. Like because I'm just like, ooh, you just made your background like red and then blue and then just like with the like it's just so satisfying when like it's just a clean transition. I love transitions and like within like community I have a lot of like personal mutuals, even people like you. Like I enjoy like being like this kind of a thing right here is inspiring to me. Like I think this is really cool.
Thank you. No, like it really does mean a lot, and I'm having so much fun interviewing you, and I really enjoyed interviewing other anime TikTokers, anyone who even accepted doing this. It does mean a lot, and what you said earlier was that the anime community is so inviting, and that's so true. I think that's the whole reason I even wanted to do this because of people like you. Yeah, we just embrace each other, and I want to learn more about you guys. So I've been following you for a while, especially after the Anime Truth or Dare. You became a huge inspiration to me. So I am over the moon that you actually agreed to do this. I also wanted to know, you watch a lot of anime, you read a lot of manga. What is the golden era of anime to you?
This is actually a really cool question to me. So I've always thought that this kind of a question was extremely subjective to the person because I think everyone is convinced the golden era is when they realize that they were hooked. Like I think it's like that moment for them. I feel like for a lot of people who've been watching it since they were like little kids, they'll always say like, the early 2000s or the late 90s was like that golden era. And like it's because of like that nostalgia for them. For me, I knew I was invested when I was like a freshman in high school, like in that era. So for me, it's like, oh yeah, like that 2011 to 2014 was like my golden era. I think it's almost like a thing where it's like that era where you fell in love with like your first anime that maybe broke your heart, like that time I think is when your golden era is. I think it's like a subjective thing from like your experience. So I guess that's mine.
Oh, 2014. Nice. Yeah, and I agree. I definitely think it is a subjective thing. There's no right answer, and that's definitely that's an interesting choice. What was the anime that broke your heart in that era?
So I was a Tumblr kid, but I was really good at missing spoilers for like, the meme type animes where everybody's like, "Oh, this anime made me cry." The anime that I didn't know about that I watched blindly was Clannad.
Mm.
Have you heard of it?
I try my hardest to stay away from terribly sad anime. And
It's my
Clannad
favorite.
is at the top of the list. Everyone says it is heart-wrenching. You're going to die. So I've stayed far away from that. Tokyo Magnitude 8.0. So I am sorry you walked into that
I-
one.
No one told me anything. Like I heard nothing about this anime. And I'm like, oh, what's this? I like just saw it on like I think Hulu or something like that. And I'm like, oh, okay, let me just watch it. Like the characters look pretty, like the art style looks nice, the scenery is beautiful. I learned now whenever they have that soft scenery with really beautiful backgrounds, you're going to cry. They always look beautiful. But that's the thing. They all have such beautiful like they're so detailed with the sensitive ones. And I knew nothing. And I remember finishing season one of I remember just finishing season one, like rolling away from my desk, slamming my laptop down and crying for 3 hours. Like I cried for 3 hours because I'm just like, what just happened? Like no one prepared me. I've never seen an anime hurt someone like that. And I was just so distraught and upset because I wasn't prepared for my emotions to be like, I've never seen, because it was even though there's a little bit of magic in it, but I've never seen something so human happen to an anime character. And I'm just like, okay, I didn't want that to happen. It,
Oh
it,
my
it was
God.
very unfair. I'm still upset
I
about it.
First of all, I want to commend you because that was the best non-spoiler way to like describe how how heart-wrenching and devastating Clannad is. I'm even more scared of it. I've never heard it described like that. And even when you said about the scenery when it gets softer, that made me think of a clip I saw from, I think it is Tokyo Magnitude 8.0, where it's just really beautiful scenery and just terrible things happen when you see like so that's amazing.
Give you another
Do
example too.
please give me another example.
Silent Voice. Have you seen A Silent Voice?
Oh yes, I love
That was
Silent Voice.
gorgeous. The backgrounds of that were immaculate. Everything was so pretty. Like, especially that one scene where it all goes down. It was gorgeous. I will say this. Like, this was like a really random thing. But the fireworks in that, and like when there was like that one scene where they were at the festival, those were the most beautiful fireworks I've ever seen in an anime. They were gorgeous.
And the worst thing, that was a crazy scene.
Like,
Yeah.
now I know the signs. Didn't know what that
Speaking of
was ready.
spoilers, yeah, no.
Mm-mm.
Speaking of spoilers, um, uh, what I think spoilers are a huge problem in the anime community. People get spoiled left, right, and center. Without obviously saying the spoiler, what anime was spoiled for you? Like that really hit you the hardest?
Ah. Because like I have a policy because like I've had plenty of them spoiled for me. Like even people have spoiled stuff in My Hero Academia for me, but I have a policy. What I do is I just avoid the series for long enough for me to try to forget what the spoiler is, or I just aggressively read the manga because it didn't give me enough context to understand the spoiler that I got. But
That's
that
a
one,
great
the
answer.
one I got from that one made me upset because I did it to myself.
How so? Why do you
I
say?
just
Why do you say you did take time? I'm sorry. Repeat that. The Instagram went out for a second.
oh, just fine. I I spoiled it for myself. I hate when I do that because I have no one to blame but me.
Mm.
Google is dangerous.
I'm I'm really sorry. uh, when it comes to, you said earlier that you wanted to do writing, right?
Yes.
Did you ever want to write a manga?
Yes. I still do, actually. Fun fact.
Interesting. So are you working on it, or is it something that is just in your mind and you're gathering your
I
thoughts on it?
I do have some like story concepts written down. Like I have like a big old notebook and like a very large document like in my old computer of like stories that I had because at first I thought I wanted them to be books because I'm like, oh, go like the J.K. Rowling right now. And I'm like, I don't really love books like that. And there's something about being able to see it happen for me that like makes it like impactful. The only problem is I don't know how to draw. I'm learning. But I realized I'm like, this would be so much better as a manga than a book. So I'm like trying to figure out, all right, I like this story. I'm like, I have like the bone structure of it. It just needs a lot more filler. But I just don't know which style I'd want it to be written in. But I do have some things that I've been considering. I also want to try to start writing some of my own fan fiction and stuff, like, kind of put more of my works out there in ways that are kind of more palatable for people who don't know me.
Nice. So you're into fan fiction too.
Mhm.
Very nice. So I'm going to ask you one more question, and then I'm going to open up the Q&A portion to everyone that's here. What anime scene for you hit you the hardest? That was the most inspirational, moving thing that you've seen in anime?
Oh, inspirational. I know it's probably something from Hunter x Hunter. The first thing I'm thinking of is the fight between Meruem and Netero, and I'm not sure if it's that it's an expiring thing or it just gave me chills.
Interesting.
Ugh. Like it was a Kimura Ant arc with Netero. Do you remember that fight?
Of course, yes. I love Hunter.
Oh,
That
that
yeah,
fight
that
did
scene
something
was.
to me. It was
Oh,
such a good arc.
I really like that answer. And now I'm going to read some of these questions. And again, thank you for doing this. Like I had so much fun getting to know you.
Hi, Sydney. I can see you.
Yes, hello, Morley Gray.
I just see a bunch of eyeball emojis.
Fan fiction. You know what? What's your favorite fan fiction? Do you have one? Do you
I
have a
do
favorite
not
fan
pick
fiction?
favorite fan fiction. I do not.
Okay.
I don't pick favorites there.
Uh, okay. No problem. So that one part of My Hero Academia and Bakugo was talking to that kid. I
Which
don't
kid?
remember that part.
That
So
kid?
do you have a favorite fanfic? No. That's she no. She
I
doesn't want
have
to
like
answer
types
that.
that I like. Like I love like a good AU. Like I love a well fleshed out AU. Like when they like just fit everybody into like this type of like a character arc. Like the little like from like a coffee shop AU to like any kind of AU. Just so long as like they did something to like really plug these characters into their own world. Paralleling, I think I got into that because of Attack on Titan. They gave them so many AUs when we were in that dry spell between season one and season two. The explosion of content was amazing for the fanfics. But it also ruined so many characters because it made Levi so soft. It was not accurate at all. And it made you love him. Not like that.
Ooh, sorry. Do you have a no favorite fanfic genre or fandom?
I will say romance definitely for fanfics because the way that fanfic like I have such respect for like fanfic writers that actually like write these hundreds of thousands of word completed volume things. Like that's what I aspire to be because when like those ones they hit different because it's like you can tell they put the heart into this. They really cared about what was going to happen to this character, and sometimes they rip them away from you in a very, very painful and unfair way. And that's okay too because it was well written. That's the only reason why it hurt. Then again, I'm no better. I like hurting people with writing. It's kind of weirdly fun. It's like this almost like a sadistic kind of feeling of, ooh, they're gonna die and they have no idea. I'm gonna make them fall in love with this character as much as possible, and then it's
So
part of the
evil.
mindset you do.
That's so evil. That's
But it's so
terrible.
satisfying too.
Have you seen A Place Further Than the Universe? And if so, how did you feel about it?
I have not seen that. What is
Me
it?
neither. I've heard about it though, for sure. I just have not seen that either. Oh,
I'm
and
so
if you could
behind on
choose,
everything. I've started
uh,
One Piece, so it's not helping. I'm so excited that I
if,
finally started One Piece.
yes, you started One Piece.
Yes, I did, and I love
Nice.
it. Like,
That's
it's another one of
beautiful.
those things where I'm like, starting it outside of childhood nostalgia, it's good. Like, I like being able to say that. It's like, as an adult, I think this series is great. And, like, I think that's a testament to the fact that it keeps over time. Like, I think it's a testament to how good it really is. Like, nostalgia aside, it's very good. The characters are so lovable. I just don't like Nami.
You don't like Nami.
No. Like I'm just at the point where they're getting Sanji the cook, and I don't like her. She's done nothing to make me like her yet. I don't. I don't.
What episode are you on?
I think I'm on 27. I just started it like this week, and I don't like her.
Wow. I've been stuck on, someone said they were stuck on episode 3 for a long time. I've been stuck on episode 2 for, I think we're going on a month now. I've been stuck on
But you
episode
need
2
to
for
at least get Zero. Zero is. Oh, I love him. Oh, I love
and
him.
I know there's gold at the end of the tunnel. I know that. I it's just hard. It's just it's a slow burn for me. It's a slow burn.
I felt that way about Fairy Tale.
Ooh. Yeah.
I feel like once you hit around episode 10, and then like from there when you get to 50, it's like, okay, I'm in. But like you have to let yourself get to 10 and then get to 50. Those two chunks I feel like are where you get invested.
Yeah. I agree. I definitely agree. I felt like Fairy Tale. I've always said that I don't speak negatively about anime. If an anime isn't for me, it's just not for me, and that's perfectly fine. So I've always never spoke about Fairy Tale because I consider it a solid anime. I just have particular issues with it, so it doesn't. It's just not for me. But huh? No,
Say like
no.
particular issues. You're being very like vague about that.
Oh, I'm going to stay vague. I just have my issues with it. uh,
I'm just saying.
if you could choose if you could choose a manga to have a anime adaptation, what would it be? Great question, SQ Joseph.
So that's something I can say I don't have put in for because I like doing the reverse sandwich. I like watching anime before I read the manga because in my mind it's like this. I get bonus features if I watch the anime first. That way I'm not disappointed later. I get the smaller version and then I get like it's like an appetizer for the meal. If that makes sense.
I like that. No, that's a good analogy. That's a great analogy. Huh. Okay. These interviews are always chill. Oh, thank you, Karen Suela. I really appreciate that. Oh man. I definitely have a couple. I definitely have a couple questions for you. When it comes, you watch shonen anime. What is one fight you wish you could change the outcome of?
That's to know I want to change the outcome of that fight. Um,
Change the outcome of what fight?
Netedo and Meruem would be nice. I'd like that.
What? But that, okay, no spoilers, but that scene was just the speech was do we really want that to change?
No, but
Oh man, no, I
it's like
love.
I know, like that's the problem with trying to change the outcomes of the fight is that it impacts the story. Like no matter which fight you change, like it's gonna do something to somebody. Like if I tried to change the outcome of the fight between Deku and Bakugo, like the last fight they had in the anime in season 3, like
Mhm.
I thought that would have really impacted the character of Bakugo if it changed. Like if it were a different ending, his relationship with Deku would be different. It would have hit different in season 4, like when they had to talk. It would have been different.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more with that. Booty Me Junior says I like to
I'm
watch
sorry, what did you
anime
say?
up until
Who, Junior?
Booty Meat Junior. He's a fantastic guy. I love this dude. I like to watch the anime up until it runs out, and I read the manga because I'm desperate. Do you feel similarly with that sentiment?
Yeah, that's what happened with me in Attack on Titan. But it was what was interesting is that the only reason that I ended up going backwards in Attack on Titan is that I realized where the manga left off was different than the ending of season 1. Like I feel like I can say this now. I think it's okay for me to say this. So in the end of season 1, with the scene where you find out like, oh, Annie was hiding something, and Mikasa like cuts her fingers like before they harden.
Right.
Mikasa doesn't come off of that wall just yet.
Exactly. Yeah.
There was a hole in the wall that revealed the Titan in the wall before she came down. But in the anime, she came down and they like showed it after the end credits. So people who didn't watch the first season after the end credits, they didn't even know there was a Titan in the wall. And I'm just like they marveled it. They did a Marvel movie thing. Anime doesn't play like that. Who would think, let me watch after all the credits to see them just casually drop rubble off of the wall and show the face of a Titan? And then it also doesn't tell you if that's real. That could have been a logo or something where it's like, oh, it's just a picture. Like that wasn't conclusive information. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
in manga, like people all see that hole and everybody's like, what's that? Like it's a moment where everyone's panicking while they're trying to detain Annie, like, we have to cover that up. The people are gonna see this. We have to cover that up. What
It
is
was
it? Is
huge.
it alive? Like Mikasa looks that Titan in the eye. So I'm just like, why did they take that out?
Yeah, and they made it just they completely muted the scene, and it was such a huge moment in the manga. That is a shame. I completely agreed with you when you said it. Oh, hey, Eleanor. Uh, Also, what anime villain do you sympathize with the most? That's a good
Sympathize with.
one. That's a really good one.
See, I don't dislike too many villains in all honesty. And I think it's because a lot of anime do a really good job of fleshing out villain type characters where they give them a goal. Once a quirky villain has a goal, you have a reason to kind of like root for them a little bit. Like I feel that way about like Shigaraki, for example. I just feel like he had like this troubled past. He's kind of ambitious. He's young. Like considering like I think he's like one of the youngest in the League of Villains aside from Toga. And it's like that he was done wrong to the point where he was manipulated to be in this position and feel like he's doing something right. And I'm just like, I sympathize for him in that way. And it also, like, something I actually like about Shigaraki as a character in conjunction with Deku is the fact that they have a parallel story going like this with All Might and All for One. I said that right. I always say One for All and All for One. Like, I mix those up so bad. It's driving
Same,
me crazy.
same.
But it's like, okay, their mentors are taking a step down. It's their turn, and they're doing it very differently. Deku has like this support system that's coddling him, while Shigaraki has to stand on the top on his own for the first time. So they're doing this as like a codependent and independent versus each other. So I just think it's cool to see, like, because All for One said it. It's like, okay, we'll see which method is better, yours or mine. And I'm like, it's like you're watching your kids fight. But it interests me. It does. It's like I don't hate shigaraki.
That's a great answer. Have you got a favorite group in anime?
A group,
Favorite group? Favorite group of characters?
group like a squad type of thing.
Yeah, like a squad.
I think the characters. I always say this in Japanese. I'll say it in English too. It's Danshi Kokousei no Nichijou. It's daily lives of high school boys. I love those little knuckleheads so much. They are so funny. That's one of the funniest anime that I watched. Have
Quick
you ever heard of?
question. Are you fluent in Japanese?
No. I get that
You,
sometimes.
yeah, you sound great. You sound like you have a complete mastery of the language. No, wow.
I
No,
did
I'm sorry.
take it in college.
Yeah, no, you have a great accent. It's really it sounds very good. So yeah, those are all great questions, guys. Truly. And I really wanted to thank you, Tiana, for coming. We're gonna end it here before Instagram shuts it shuts it off. But
What?
it yeah, because anytime it's an hour, Instagram stops the live automatically. So that's why these lives are usually an hour or around an hour.
Okay.
Yeah, so again, thank you for coming. I had a blast interviewing you. Everybody, thank you. This was Podimecast. Is going to be on Instagram TV and it's going to be on YouTube as well. And I'll be putting out clips on TikTok. Everybody, have a great day.
Cool. Bye. Thanks for having me.